I am so excited to talk about activating your soul voice today. Welcome. I am Casey Aileen Knight, also known as Aurora Light, and I've been going by Casey Blues Knight for a while on my socials because that's my married name. Blues is my husband's name, Knight, my birth name, and we stuck them together without a hyphen. It's been really fun, but recently I have done some alchemy on healing my name, and I think I'm about to switch back to my first, middle, and birth last name because of the coding that it carries. And we're going to be speaking about those unique soul codes today and how there's a whole bunch of different things when it comes to activating your soul voice. This is one of the areas that I did not expect to end up specializing in, but Spirit and Divine Providence has brought me to this place where I spend a lot of my time sharing my voice and my soul codes through my speech, through my song, sometimes through light language, through coaching my clients and teaching master classes, and inside of my self-study programs, my Creation Coach Academy. The voice that I now carry is encoded with information directly from my soul and my multidimensionality. And that process of learning how to speak from my soul, not just from my heart, not from my mind, not from my ego, and that's what we will actually wind up talking about the difference today, as well as how can you do this? As I activated my capacity to speak with my soul voice, not only did the resonance of my voice changed, and it's interesting to go back and watch videos of me from 3 years ago, 5 years ago, and hear the differences in tones, but also my magnetism changed, my capacity to exchange information, to teach, to guide, to hold space, that changed as well. My ability to connect with beautiful souls that could really feel the resonance of my voice, that started to amplify. And I started to draw in my soul family, incredible souls from across the globe that I don't know if I would have met if I had stayed in the smaller box that I was living in, speaking from the heart and the mind, instead of unleashing my capacity to speak directly from the soul. So I am so excited that we get to have this conversation today. It is going to be a really interesting and very intuitively guided ride. The soul voice is something that you don't just hear. Your soul voice is something that you feel. I'm talking for you personally, if you're wondering, and we'll talk about, oh, how do I know if I'm speaking from my heart, from my body, from my mind level, from my ego, from my childhood wounding, or the soul. It's a feeling in the body that we will experience, and you just know there is a resonance, which means like the actual wavelength of the sound feels different inside your body. And I liken it to feelings that I get when I have been in flow state, or when I'm in meditation, when I'm in ceremony, right? There's a difference from when I'm just talking from the mind level or from my heart and sharing my feelings, and when I am channeling through my soul essence. And I can feel the difference in my chest, in my throat. It drops in and it feels like it's coming vertically from the cosmos all the way down, and it lands in my chest, but it's also supported by my body. And unless you have a clear channel for this energy to flow through and a solid foundation for your body to hold it, it's much more difficult to tap into. So Today, we're going to talk again about the how. How can you do this? And I'm going to introduce you to my system of evolutionary alchemy that has allowed myself first and foremost, and many of my students to experience this, the speaking from the soul. And we'll talk about some different ways that you can get there, different practices that you can try on right away. We're also going to talk about why this is so magical. So I mentioned soul family, but also literal abundance, opportunities, my magnetism for the manifestations that were from my soul level instead of just my ego or even, just my mental capacity to try to manifest something that I think I want has amplified, because this whole process involves being directly connected to your soul energy, which means there's information passing through from your soul directly to you. It's part of the soul embodiment process. And when you are dialed in to what I call your soul, your spirit, your essence, your entire multidimensional self, you are going to be receiving information as well as sharing the information in this beautiful reciprocity, right? There is this infinite flow that you tap into that includes the infinite abundance of the universe. So this is one of my favorite parts about being able to speak from that soul, that spirit, that essence. It amplifies your manifestation and creation ability. It manifests your capacity to tap into all of the magic that truly you have inside of you. But when we don't have access to our soul voice, our creation power is very stunted. Christy's saying I have to go at 2. That's all right, darling. I have a child at home. She's got the sniffles, so I'm gonna keep this, hopefully this training, this masterclass, this talk to about an hour, but there's always the replay if there's more codes that want to come through and flow through. And I hope if you're on the replay, you let me know in the comments how you're receiving this. So there is this creation magic, untapped potential inside you. You are literally creation incarnate, right? I work directly with the unified field of creation, and I'm going to be sharing way more about the unified field, which is the all that is, and working with all elements and all realms of creation at once for the whole human to create and manifest really much more on the 4th of October to the 7th of October inside this group, the Luminous Evolution group, where we're going to be dropping abundance codes. And when I say we, I mean Gaia, the consciousness of the planet, is going to co-facilitate this with myself to support the visionary, heart-centered leaders and creators to move out of scarcity and into abundance consciousness, which is frequency. And so we're going to talk more about the manifestation process and actually more of the how and the intricacies in 2 weeks for this elemental abundance code. But right now I want to set it up with this discussion about your word creates your world. Your word creates your world. I think I heard that spoken exactly like that from James Wedmore. We have heard the essence of this since time immemorial. When we talk about speaking, we know that there is a creation capacity that is inherent inside both spoken words and also when we write things down. And then also, of course, our thoughts, right? We call writing things down spelling, like literally casting spells. In the beginning, the Bible says there was the word. In other traditions, they talk about the primordial sound vibration, like the vibration of the sound om or aum, kind of like amen, amen, like they're all related as seed sounds for universal creation. So this is ancient knowledge, but we haven't really been taking advantage of the power that's inherent in this. At least it's not typically taught in schools. This is something that we are rekindling and bringing into the now and bridging all of our creation capacity into this present moment as we're on this precipice of really activating more and more of our soul gifts, our soul remembrance. Many people are already there and remembering they are creation incarnate. They are creator beings. They are able to consciously create their reality and cultivate or co-create their reality, right? There's a lot of distortion in manifestation teachings and things that are left out. So we'll talk more about that, like I said, in the next masterclass coming up in 2 weeks, where we're speaking about the unified field of balancing all of it. Speaking of balance, let's take a breath and honor the balance that we are in right now, aligning with the equinox. It's the autumnal equinox where I am up in the northern hemisphere, but this beautiful time of balancing energies. And I find that when I'm able to really speak from my soul, I am able to create, co-create, cultivate a life that feels like it's whole, like it is balanced, like I am able to direct the energetic forces of creation through my words, through how I am creating my reality through my words that have come from my thoughts, which came from my beliefs, which have come from what I have consciously chosen. What I have decided is actually for me, or what has been shown to me by my soul essence, instead of what society has programmed me with, instead of what our parents and our grandparents and our teachers and authority figures have instilled in us. So often when we speak, we're not speaking from our own divine authority. We are speaking from our wounding, our traumas, little traumas, big traumas. Just being alive on planet Earth right now, it's traumatic. Being born is a traumatic process, okay? So we have all of this distortion, as well as everything from our ancestors, as well as everything from the collective that keeps us from really tapping into that soul frequency and our unique essence for a while. Children have it innately. Children are not yet programmed with everything that society is going to program them with. And programs aren't necessarily bad, right? We program ourselves and our children and everything like that, but we want to make it a conscious process instead of just like getting the input from everything and everyone, right? If we don't support our children and instill programs like, let's be kind to animals and not pull their tails, then they turn out to be, you know, little animal harassers, right? We have to teach children. But in the process of teaching children, often what has happened, especially as people have gone through school systems and we've been raised by people who are not necessarily conscious of how their words are actually programming the reality of themselves and the kids and all the people around them, is we learn to shrink down to become acceptable and create this smaller version of ourselves that doesn't have the innate power or the access to our innate creation power through our words. We're kind of taught that it doesn't matter, right? Things are changing now. My daughter is in a preschool where she is taught this stuff, and she went to a preschool. Now she's in grade 1. She understands that she could control part of how she experiences the world through how she speaks and expresses, which is created from her thoughts and beliefs, which is a huge leg up. But we, and I'm speaking to the people that are watching us right now, most of us were not raised with that. And we gave away our power. We gave away our authority. We gave away our capacity, or perhaps it was taken from us, to really tap into that soul frequency, because we're either taught that we are too much and we need to dumb it down, dull it down, not take up too much space, to stop expecting great things, to stop asking for things, because if you ask for one more thing today, one more toy, one more treat, I'm just gonna, right? When we're kids, we're told to stop asking so much of life, or we're taught that there's no point, right, to even asking at all. Some people shut it down that much, and we don't feel safe to ask, to speak, to create our reality. And so it doesn't feel in our bodies like we have any power, and it doesn't feel like we can. So when we don't think we can, we can't, right? It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. This, I would say, it's a downward spiral into this disempowering energy of speaking from this little place that is tiny, that is so much less than what we are capable of doing. So the process of learning how to activate and speak from your soul voice so that you can consciously create your reality, right, through your perception. And when I say create, I'm always speaking co-create, because we're all here together and other people are involved, right? And all of the forces. We're not, I'm not talking about some kind of like, if you only say positive things, then you'll only create positive things in your reality. None of that bypassing distorted stuff. But we can co-create with spirit when we bring through our soul voice that has the resonance and the tones and the wisdom and the creation frequencies inherent in it. We can create opportunities for connection. We can create these different experiences of communication with people. We can learn how to be understood in a way that allows us to feel it at the soul level when we are in our most expansive form, instead of playing from this little itty bitty one that is contracted and disconnected from the magic that we actually are. So take a breath in. Abracadabra. Sounds like just some magic word that you'd hear a magician who's about to pull a rabbit out of a hat say first. My favorite fact in the entire world is that this is actually in ancient Aramaic for I create as I speak. We're always doing this. The words that we say actually do create the reality to some degree. They co-create the reality we experience. When we are saying something like, I suck, I am the worst, people are so mean. People just don't get me. We are sending a frequency out into the world with a resonance that is actually going to program our perception of reality. It's changing our belief system to believe that, because if you say things out loud or think them enough, you start to believe them. That's how we can program our reality, right? And we will also be looking from that perception place for examples of that. And we'll say, someone's mean to us one time, we're like, see, I knew it. I knew that person. People are always mean to me. I can't get a break. Like all of these things that we say and we think that are coming from a place of wounding, that are coming from the smaller perspective instead of the soul, start to perpetuate that. And again, it's more of that downward spiral energy, and the energy contracts us more and more until we feel like we are so cut off from who we are and what we are meant to do and how we are meant to do it and our full soul essence and all of our magic, that we can't even perceive that it exists. When our frequency shifts down into this place that is so small and so dense because it's very contracted, instead of our natural expanded open energy field, we are creating unintentionally things that we don't actually want. And we're not creating from our soul, our spirit, our essence, and our possibility. We're creating from a very limited, small place. And oftentimes this brings up the ego. Hi, Casey and Shamina and everyone watching. Oh my gosh, I always just get excited when you're here, Casey, because that's my name too. And I don't know many other Caseys, especially not spelled the same way. That always just lights me up. So those things that light us up, they're a natural part of the expansion process. So I'm not speaking good, bad in this dichotomy of speaking from ego or speaking from soul. None of it is good or bad. I live in this place of divine neutrality where it just is. But I do know that I prefer the possibilities and want to play in the field of possibilities that exist when my energy field is open enough that I can be a channel for soul and those soul frequencies to move through me. And then I can create from that place, from my expanded capacity, from all of my magic, and bring it down into my body and embody it through my speech, through my words, through my intentions, through my beliefs and thoughts and actions. So there is the ego voice and the ego energy that is going to be more limited. And then there is the soul energy that feels expansive. And let me know in the chat if you can feel this difference in your body. If you are speaking from a place of ego, which again, it's not bad, it's an isness that just is in neutrality, or you're speaking from your heart or your soul. When we're talking from the ego, we are going to be limited and we're going to be trying to stay alive, stay safe. And that's when we start to limit the potentiality. We limit our creation capacity. We limit our infinite potential that actually is inherent in us, because the ego has a smaller vantage point and a particular job. And the job of the ego is very important. I'm never about killing the ego. That is, again, a distortion. We want the ego to be in alignment to help us keep this body alive, so you don't just walk into traffic, so you don't just like put your hand on a stove going like, well, I'm an infinite being, so I can just do whatever. No, the ego's job is to keep you alive, right? And it has done that for a very long time without necessarily having the soul guidance, the soul connection, and the soul voice. The ego has this limited plane of vision and existence that's like what it knows. So if your ego is driving the bus and you're creating from that place, you're going to stick to the road that you know, the path that seems safe enough. You're not going to go off-roading with your dreams, with your creations, because you don't want to get hurt. Because you might think that you're not able to, you're not good enough, you don't have the knowledge, the know-how, the skills. You don't, from the place of ego, because ego has this limited perception of just where it's been, and all of our ancestral wisdom, right, comes through oftentimes in the ego as well, right? Because your ancestors lived to make you. And so those strengths that got you alive and helped you survive are coming through with the ego, and it'll reach into, what did the ancestors do? Oh, they played it like this. Okay, awesome. That kept us alive. Let's do that. There is a very different energy from the soul level, because it is higher and lower. It's a frequency bandwidth thing. It's a visibility thing. The soul is not like better than, it's just a different part. I, again, want to take the judgments out of this, but from your soul, which is much bigger, you get this expansive energy that can see further. Your soul, I also like to go all the way up to that highest self, beyond space and time, and your soul can connect to that, through that, much more easily than just the ego level can. They have the dreams, the higher vision. Some people call this the higher mind, where you can tap into not only the mass consciousness, but creation consciousness of the infinite. And these aspects of ourselves and this infinite aspect, some people call it the quantum field, the unified field, all of creation, the cosmos, all of those realms that are more expanded than our human, their imagination is beyond what we could possibly conceive of. So when we can tap into the tones from our soul, and through that also receive the wisdom, the information, the guidance, and channel it through, we are getting the higher vision, the higher potentialities, the possibilities. When I learned how to speak from my soul, I was also learning how to communicate with those aspects of myself that could pull through those higher vibrational frequency bandwidth of abundance, infinite possibility, celebration, gratitude, joy, divine love, right? Which are higher frequency bandwidths that we can tap into when we are, and bring through when we are connecting with, communing with, and then speaking into existence when we learn how to speak from our soul. So take a breath in and let it out. A lot of this, you're receiving the information in a multidimensional way when I'm speaking. And so let me know if you're feeling it in your body, right? Can you feel the resonance of these words? And is your mind trying to make sense of them? It's okay if this conversation is a little more than just the mind level can grasp. And you're like, I don't get all of this, but it feels good. Follow that. Because the mind level, again, has these limitations. And it's the soul level and learning to connect with, commune with, and then speak from that soul level where the resonant tones and frequencies are shared in a way that gives people activations through their body that can move through their cellular matrix and clear out old programming, old energies, old distortion, just from the sound alone. We can also activate soul memory by hearing the resonance frequency from someone who is carrying those soul tones. So this is a gift that I have innately, but I've cultivated through all of this work that I'm going to tell you about. My voice helps people remember who they are, not just like their personality, like that they're a mom who likes shiny rocks and crystals and color, right? I'm talking about who they are at that multidimensional level, the soul, the spirit, the essence, and the power of creation inside of them. And that is something that has, again, brought me the abundance, the opportunities to grow my business, to collaborate with beautiful souls, to magnetize in my soul family, because I was no longer speaking from the wounded place, from the mental level, from who I thought I was, right? Which was this smaller version of me that was contracted energy. When I learned to take the masks off and dissolve those things that I was not, and create the space inside my body for those soul frequencies and my essence to come through, it turned on so many of these soul gifts to use the way that I speak, the resonant tones, to help people remember who they are, what they came here for, what their soul mission is, how they're part of the collective mission, what they are doing here, and how they can also access these soul tones themselves. I used to be a dance teacher, and I help people tap into using hula hoops and flow arts and all that kind of thing, their mastery and their essence, expression through movement. And I was really good at it. But there was another thing calling me basically for my entire life that I was like, I'm not ready. No, maybe someday, to step into the global online community of teachers who are being like, this is who you actually are, multidimensional, magical being of light, here to create and play and grow and connect. It took me a while to get there, but I realized when it was time to step in fully, which is a whole story I can tell you some other time, that I needed to share my gift of connecting people with their soul essence expression in a way that wasn't just dance focused. Because I can help people cultivate their soul essence in movement, and it's beautiful, it's fun. Here's the thing, not everybody wants to dance. Not everybody is ready to pick up a hula hoop and get their jam on and connect with their soul essence that way. And I wasn't sure how I was going to be sharing this wisdom. And I realize now that I've been doing it for a few years, it's always the same but different, right? The way that I work, because it's my soul essence and creation capacity just expressing in these multidimensional forms. So now, I offer coaching. I have a coaching academy, and I teach people how to work with the divine energies and teach workshops and bring through soul essence and creation power for other people. But I also teach people how to use their voice and their creative expression in a multidimensional communication art form known as light language, glossolalia, speaking in tongues. It's had many, many names, and there's been lots of weird distortions that have been played in with this. But the way that it came through me was as just the fastest way I could share with people the capacity to unlock their channeling of their soul, to speak from their soul using frequency and resonance and their creative expression in a way that helps them create, manifest, magnetize in all of the magic that is inherent for them. And when I speak light language, and I can give you a sample of that, if you would like, let me know in the comments if you're watching and you're like, yeah, give me some light language. I want some of that soul tone. I want some of that right now. Let me know, or I can leave that till the end. The light language is just the vehicle. It's just the tool that I was also called to use to do the same thing that I always do. English gets hard when spirit is really flowing. And sometimes things that I'm wanting to share and express are beyond words. They have these electromagnetic packages of information that you can decode that don't make sense to the logical mind because it is multidimensional. It's beyond comprehension at just that mental level, and certainly at just the ego level, right? So when I share with people how to turn on and access their light language, it's this really quick, fast path to doing everything that I said, to learn how to transform the density and the limiting beliefs and the old programs that are keeping us stuck in the small, contracted energy, and open up to be a channel for their own light. And light, when I'm talking about light, I mean information plus love, which is multidimensionally, electromagnetically encoded to be received. So it doesn't have to be visible light. There's also the invisible light, believe it or not. The light spectrum goes far beyond the visible light spectrum. The visible light spectrum is like this big, and then there's like the light spectrum, and probably beyond what we can identify right now. And so light language is just this package that I use because people are like, I want to be able to do that. I want to be able to share these soul frequencies and tones and do this magical party trick. But I use that to help people connect with their soul voice and speak from it. And students that I've had that have gone through my courses with light language go, okay, all I wanted to do was speak light language, but suddenly I can speak my truth. Suddenly I can communicate with my partner and say what I need, right? Suddenly they're able to tell their story in a more magnetic way, really important tool for entrepreneurs to be able to share some of their story and their soul codes. So there's just this really beautiful way of getting into that soul expression that I can share. And like I said, I've done it in other ways with my dance classes. In my one-on-one coaching, it's quite a bit different, but also the same. So I have this process that I realize can teach people how to dance their essence, how to speak their essence, and how to live their soul essence as a divine creator, that creation incarnate, dancing and playing and expressing their unique codes in form. I call it evolutionary alchemy. So this is my system that can take anybody from feeling that contraction energy of disconnection to their essence and their power into that open, expanded place of pure potentiality, where they have access to their soul gifts, their innate wisdom, their innate power, their creation capacity, and to embody that and speak from that soul place so that they can create and be all the magic that they know they're here to be, right? You know, if you're watching this, that there is so much more untapped potential inside of you, and that there is more that you are here to do, but mostly to be, right? You feel like there's this next level expression of yourself and your light and your radiance. So let me share with you quickly that system, and you can apply it to anything you want: activating your soul voice, building a business, having a better relationship, manifestation, creation. This is the system. These are keys I'm going to give you right now that will change your life if you apply them. Okay. I'm just going to check the comments here. Nicole, hey, she loves that she was doing the essence expression module of Life Creation 101 inside the Creation Coach Academy earlier today. This is like a deepening of that module for sure. Oh my gosh. Yes. And Christy, I love this saying, that's sometimes why I swear so much. Words are not always enough. Yes, I love swears. I try to keep it clean on live because I don't know who's listening, but inside my private coaching and things like that, and if you know me in real life, I will drop the F-bombs because they have frequencies that are very expressive, right? That's where I at people, but they allow emphasis on certain things, right? It's important if used correctly, right? Like all words, they're just frequency packages. So let me give you the keys to activating your soul voice, to speaking from your soul and tapping into your creation power so that you can do anything. Okay, this is important. If you want to explore how to do this with support, I'm going to drop some links and some ways that you can do that after this, right? Either one-on-one with me, you can learn how to activate your light language in self-study courses. I have a next fucking level manifestation. See, there's an F-bomb in my class. Next fucking level manifestation course. So connecting with that soul essence. Christy, I thought maybe you'd like that. As well as, of course, like I train facilitators to do this, coaches and facilitators to work with evolutionary alchemy and the unified field and the divine and the spirit and the soul essence for creation and expression inside the Creation Coach Academy, which, by the way, is going to be enrolling another round just in October. So come to the next masterclass series if you're wanting to expand your soul-led business in a way that is going to tap you into that creation potential through your soul essence and voice, and then help others do that in whatever niche you're in, right? It works as an overlay or a template for everything. So the template that works so well, the evolutionary alchemy, is transform, activate, and then embody. So let's talk about that. But first, I'm going to preface this with, if you've followed me for a few years, I used to call it joyful alchemy. And then I realized not everybody finds the transformation process as freaking joyful as I do, because I know where it's headed. So if I'm deep in the transformation, even if it's painful, I have that connection to spirit and my soul that's like, it's okay, don't worry, keep going. Not everybody has that innately. So sometimes the transformation, it can suck. It can be painful, right? Growth Transformation, dissolving the old stuff that's no longer serving, that can hurt. It can be hard, especially if we don't want to let go of it. But that is stage one. Step one. First, we need to have that light and illuminate what is ready to shift and change. And then through that process, the light begins just by being witnessed, because that is how consciousness works. If we add intention to it, it can alchemize or transform in the way that we need it to, which is basically making space, dissolving, getting rid of anything that is not you, or that is no longer you, or that is not in your highest and best good. Programs, behaviors, belief systems, actions you've been taking, even feelings that are stuck inside of you, those things just need to move. Sometimes it means totally dissolving, and sometimes it means changing form into something more supportive. You can do this in so many ways: breath work, journaling, talking, connection, meditation, sound frequencies, activations, tapping, the list goes on, right? Shaking, like there's an infinite way to transform things. That's what I love about this planet, right? I use belief repatterning and things like that, and the vocal frequencies, sound frequencies, activations literally from spirit, where I'm not even doing anything and I just command it to be so, and they will take care of it. We can do that transformation piece first, and that's essential. So we have enough space in us, and that the purity of the channel is important. If it's all clogged up with gunk that isn't you, old stuff that you're hanging on to, ancestral wounding, trauma, we don't have the capacity to let spirit in and flow through us. So activation is the next stage, where we activate and align. So the alignment needs to be body, mind, heart, soul, spirit. And I like to go all the way up to source and all the way down to Gaia, and be in this beautiful vertical plane where we are truly in alignment. When people talk about throwing around alignment all the time, and it's like, alignment with what? For me, like if I'm ever saying alignment, to your highest self. That just go there, and everything else will fall into order, okay? Like, just, we can do this if we prime ourselves to with just a few breaths. I love to take people in, breathe in through the nose, and sigh it out. Got different breath patterns, but do that a couple times. And what happens is you start to relax your nervous system. You start to slow down and soften and open, which is an essential part of that connection and activation. If your nervous system is activated, right, the fight or flight, or if you're in the freeze and disconnection and shut down too, right, means that you've got your defensive shields up and spirit can't get through, or it's going to be distorted. So that's a big teaching. We talk about that more in the Luminous Evolution Masterclass in the guide section of this video, or in this Facebook group, right? So once we have that openness, and we've moved all the crap that's in the way, and we activate that connection, and it starts to flow, and we start to receive, and we can feel it, by the way. It's a feeling in the body. People go, how do I know? You know, because it feels good. It's unmistakable. But at first, it is subtle. So all those meditation things and practices that bring you into stillness, I find a really important part of all of this, because if you are going so quickly, or you're spinning, or you don't have that capacity to slow down enough that you can feel the subtle shift, it's subtle at first, oftentimes, and you can feel the subtle energy flowing through you and in, you might miss it, right? And in that, it starts to feel like there's been a shift in frequency. It feels different to different people, but most people say feels like it feels good, feels shimmery, it feels sparkly. It might feel like love. It might feel like home. It might feel like flow state, perfection, stillness, nothingness, everything, all of it. Like, your experience will vary. But once that connection is made and you've activated it, nothing is going to happen besides some good feelings and some slow shifts in your life, unless you embody it. So this is stage or step 3, embodiment. When I started working in this role as a guide, as a teacher online, I called myself a soul embodiment guide. And I was like, this is what I do. It's brilliant. Everyone's going to be like, yes, yes, of course. But people didn't know. They were like, what does that mean? I have no context for this. Fortunately, now people are throwing around the words embodiment. It is sexy, nervous system work. People know it. People are loving it. If it's new to your world, this is going to change your life, by the way. But embodiment to me is literally taking that soul frequency and energy into the body and having it inside of us instead of being something up here, right? We've been disconnected, or soul has been like above us without full access to it for so long because we've been in a time of disconnection. And certain people were able to connect with spirit and soul, and those are the mystics and the sages and the saints and the medicine men and priestesses, but they were special people. And we were living in this time where you needed an intermediary, someone who was special to connect you with spirit, source, soul, God, the universe, whatever it was, right? And time doesn't exist anymore. We have dissolved it. And now everybody, no matter who you are, has access to this after you get rid of everything that you're not, and you have the space and you make the connection. And it does take some healing, I'm not going to lie. Maybe a lot of healing. But once you do that, the capacity to bring your soul and spirit and essence and source and energy of all creation down through and into your body, it will change you if you start living from that place. And living from that place, I mean speaking from that place. So before you speak, you connect and you bring it through you, that higher version of you that has access to more, the higher frequency bandwidths, the vision, the imagination, the codes, the multidimensional information. When you bring it into your body and then you speak from that place, your light grounding it, and you're bringing all of your creation power online. And when you speak, those frequencies go out into the world. People hear them, but also the energy around you changes. And you start to, when you change the energy around you, you start to change and it shifts you, and then you shift how you are being in the world. People respond to you differently. Things just seem to flow. Opportunities are magnetized into you that are in your highest and best good, even when they are lessons, which is a whole nother topic, right? But then there's the aligned action piece. So the other part of embodiment is being in integrity with your word, because speaking from the soul also requires integrity. What would it be if you were speaking from your soul and you brought forward this wisdom and your creation power and you're like, I am going to create this. This is my intention. Here's who I am and what I'm here to share with the world. And then you don't actually do it. Because that's where some people stop, right? They channel great, but then their words and what they are doing don't align. They're out of integrity. And then the whole thing is going to spiral down and collapse in on itself, because in this new energy, integrity is essential and embodiment is the key, right? And evolutionary alchemy is how we get there, to speak from the soul and to be able to share it with the world. Your essence, your expression. So again, if you are here as a world changer, and if you're watching this, I'm sure you are, being able to pull through these soul codes for yourself first, and then share them with the world is one of the ways that you amplify your magnetism, your abundance, because the soulmate clients and the opportunities and the people, they will find you. So if it's not happening for you now, I highly recommend checking in and seeing, is there a lot of gunk in your field and in your body that is keeping you from being that pure channel for the soul? Or are you bringing through the soul code, but your actions aren't aligning with what you actually are, who you are, and your essence? So those are the two places I really want you to notice without judgment and be aware of. If you're like, I can't speak from the soul, right? I don't know how to do that. those are the places to connect. And if you would like to try this on, this evolutionary alchemy system in a way that helps you speak from and create from your soul essence, there's a few ways to do that, right? I'll drop the links in, but for just $11, I do have a paid masterclass called 3 Secrets to Unlocking Your Light Language so you can speak from the soul. I wanted it to be incredibly accessible because I teach in there a bit on this system and you get to try it. It's a workshop, it's a play shop. I'm not bringing you through the experience here, but for $11, you can go through the experience and ceremony, and I'm going to guide you and hold space and bring you in to that. And you're going to feel it, you're going to experience. And if you do it once, you can do it again, and you can do it on your own. All right. So I have that available. You will unlock your soul frequencies, your light language, if you do the exercise that's in this masterclass. Again, it's like $11. It's an incredible process that I had done live probably 40 or 50 times. And then I took it into this piece so that anybody can access it. I also have a dive deeper into light language with singing, speaking, signing, writing, toning, working with trees in ceremony, like really, really releasing all of the programs, the old stuff around expressing yourself, tapping into your full magic and all of that in the next piece of that course, which is unlocking your soul's secret with light language. Again, using evolutionary alchemy to go beyond light language. Light language is my hook to get people in the door. And then I'm like, let me give you what you actually need, which is this capacity to be a channel for your spirit and your creative essence to shine through, right? So that is something that you can upgrade to. If you do the $11 light language course for like $88, you can do the whole process of really anchoring in the light language. And I know some people on here have done that class. Feel free to drop your experiences in the comments of what it felt like, what it offered you. It's really what I teach in a nutshell. And there's another page on that sales page. If you're checking out, it'll be like, actually, you want to learn the next fucking level of manifestation? And I have that self-study course in there as well, where it's more focused not on light language, but on like, how do you tap into your soul level desires? And how do you begin to plant the seeds to create them in this reality? What do you need? We've got a little bit about going, like accessing your intuition, trusting yourself. There's meditations, visualizations, belief repatterning. There's all kinds of things in that self-study class too. So I'm going to drop the link for that so that you have access to these like a series of classes if you're like, I would like to experience what this is all about. Of course, I do this with my one-on-one clients as well. And if you are like, this is my jam, I do this already kind of, but you're speaking my language and I want to really know more. And you are either already an entrepreneur, a heart-centered entrepreneur, teacher, guide, coach, healer, practitioner, facilitator, that kind of person, or you want to be one, do come to that masterclass. October 4th is when we begin, called Elemental Abundance Codes. And I'm going to be sharing with you more on this specific to your soul mission, to your business, so you can make the biggest impact that you know you're here to make. Because we have to totally flip the paradigm of scarcity upside down, because healers and coaches and spiritual teachers and guides have been broke for far too long. They've been tapped out from the infinite abundance that actually exists in terms of currency on this planet. Like the currency is money. You need money currently to have energy, to impact the world, to build the systems and the structures that are going to change the world. So instead of waiting until we evolve beyond money, because that's going to be a while, learn to make it with ease by tapping into the infinite abundance field paradigm and bringing it down into your body and working with the unified field, because chances are you're missing one of the pieces of the puzzle. I've got 5 keys, 5 elemental realms that you need to have in balance to be able to create the sustainable abundance to really do the things that you're here to do. And that will also be an introduction to my Creation Coach Academy, where I train coaches and facilitators to teach this stuff too. So many ways to play. You can also just take everything that I said today and just go play with it. That is what I want from you, right? It doesn't, if you want to explore further with me, absolutely. I do have opportunities for that. But I also just want you to go and try it out. Use your tools. You are a master already. You have tools. If you're watching this, you know how to move energy. Dance, shake, journal, write, tap, whatever you do, and then get into that connected place and try it out. So this has been so much fun. I'm just going to quickly drop that link to the light language course in here. Where you have access through that to the $11 class, the $88 ceremonial series, as well as the next fucking level manifestation for a discounted price. I think it was $88, $97, $111, I can't remember. Did I put an angel number on that? Probably. If you're purchasing that course alone, it's also available on my website, joyevolution.com. This has been so divine. We are just finished here. Christy, who's saying goodbye, we are actually able to close the energy right here, right now. And I'm going to seal it in with some light language for you. Okay. This is what my soul sounds like if I'm not speaking in English. So take a breath. Allow your body to just receive. You can close your eyes or keep them open if you'd like to see whatever my hands are going to do. And the mind just gets to witness without judgment, okay? Don't try to understand it, but things might come through for you. Te kish na de ter I kanaka. Deski na ako ter itana ako riti. Nash neki tar inako pitashkana. Retishka oko ritiana astiki. Nier e tishkoroto dike iki nata. Reati. Ya no kea. Nastiki neti yuko rititi tiake. Rate anahitare tia. Ya to iskarate. Ya no pa. Yate. Let me know in the comments, live or on the replay. Did you catch the vibe of that? Could you feel it? Did you feel the resonance frequencies traveling through space-time to reach you, carried on my sound frequencies, but also just on the movement and just my essence? Let me know how that landed for you. I love to hear it. And I will share with you what was really strongly coming through, because I do have that capacity for the most part to decode some of the electromagnetic information coming through. This was a okay, how do I say this? I'm just going to say the translation that came through and pardon whatever comes through, because it was a little bit of an ass kicking. It sounded like, get your head out of your ass and remember how freaking powerful you are. Basically, release all that other stuff that you're not and tap into the freaking powerful creative essence that you are, and stop worrying about all of the things. Everything that's out of your control right now, just stop, because that is limiting your power. Okay. What you can control is you. So spend your time focusing on your energy, your connection to your spirit, your soul essence, your voice, and create from that place. And then you will be the solution to so many of the problems you are worried about. But the worry is making you small. It's time to just Drop that. And I know it's easier said than done, but it is time, because you are a powerful being. Your voice, your sound, your tones, your creation potential are in you for a reason. You have shit to do. So go have some fun with it, okay? So that's what wanted to come through in my soul tones. That was like, I need to share this beyond what English is. And there was so much more encoded there as well. So Melissa said it was energetic, exciting, and hopeful. Yeah, like, but there was also a little bit of a like go do it already. Like you already have the tools. And if you don't have the tools, what you get to do is look within you and go, where can I find this in me? If I can't find it in me, can I receive support from somewhere? And ask. That's another part of the soul voice, right? Asking, speaking. What do you need? Speak it out loud, right? And then the universe will provide that with you, right? Co-create it with you, with other people too. You don't have to do it alone. I'm so delighted that we could spend this time here today. Thank you so much. If you were live with me, and love you for being here live. If you're on the replay, I could still feel your energy. It was so much fun. So let us go and tap into even more of our creation potential. Happy equinox. This is a beautiful time for ceremony, for meditation, for intention setting, but do it after you connect with your soul energy, please. Move the energy first, get into that clear channel, be in the stillness, and let the codes flow through. And then you speak them, then you write them, then you do the actions aligned in integrity with them. I'm Casey Knight. Sometimes go by Aurora Light, the frequency of that dancing magnetic energy as well. And I love you so much for being here. Thank you. If you've got questions about the programs that I'm offering, these self-studies with the links below, please go ahead, message me here or email me at info@joyevolution.com or comment, and I would love to help you with that. But do come and play in the Abundance Codes Masterclass starting October 4th, where we're going to kick the creation piece up a notch. So much love.